So, thank you for that introduction, Tony. And actually, I was going to start by quoting back those same 4 principles of what you should do. But I think we've heard them twice. They still bear repeating. It's all about mobile. It's all about doing more. I think even established companies need to start being disruptors. And actually, big data, that's really where it's at. So I've been asked to come and give a view around what Barclays are doing in this space. And I guess what I'm going to try and cover in the next few minutes is some of the key trends that we're seeing amongst our customer base. Talk a little bit about how the trends we're seeing out in the market are impacting on financial services. And then maybe take you through just a couple of projects that we've been working on in our team and talk about what we're trying to do to leverage that. I may very slightly run over time, so please bear with me, and hopefully it will be worth eating a coffee break. So, I would say the pace of change is accelerating. It's not very long ago, and you can probably, most of you remember this, there was a time when owning a mobile phone and a Wi-Fi enabled laptop was the absolute peak of being connected, right? It's just changed. And what we're seeing is changes in customer behaviour, technology, the marketplace, the competitive environment, banking regulation. It's all changing so fast. We're very much in the era of the responsive organisation. Today's most successful organisations create their advantage by being the fastest organisation to adapt, respond, and make changes. They sense disruption. And for big legacy businesses like banks, that's a real challenge. How do we structure ourselves organisationally, technologically, and culturally to really move at the same pace as the environment around us? And the challenge is only going to get larger. Futurologists pretty much agree that the pace of change now is slower than it will be at any time in the future. So I said I'd start by looking at some of the key factors driving that change. I don't know how many of you have children, but if you do, this may well be a familiar sight in your household, and it certainly is in mine. The idea that we're all pretty much living now in a connected world with a real preponderance of individual devices, smartphones, tablets, and they're ubiquitous amongst almost all age groups. We can do everything digitally, pretty much. In fact, predictions say 25 billion connected devices by 2020. That's just terrifying and exciting. Some really simple things, changing everything about how we work. I recently did a big power redevelopment on my home, and we've put in smart devices now to manage the heating and the hot water through the house. That means I can stand here in Belgrade and decide to adjust the temperature or the hot water at home in London, and there's nothing my children can do about it. So, what's driving that? Well, we kind of know what's driving that, right? It's the internet, it's eBay, Netflix, Amazon. It's not necessarily the obvious candidates driving the change in financial services. It's just that technology has created a new breed of consumer with much higher expectations. They expect instant gratification. I no longer even want same-day delivery. I want next hour delivery. Mobile choice, infinite choice. I'm probably the most informed consumer there's ever been in the history of consumption, right? Because I've got Google at my fingertips. And I expect the very best digital experience. We had a senior executive from IBM coming to talk to us at Barclays a few months ago, and he said something that was so good I wrote it down. I'm just going to read it because it really stuck. And he said, the last best experience that anyone has, anywhere, becomes the minimum expectation for the experience they want everywhere. And for me, that really resonated, because that means every banking customer who has had a brilliant experience on Netflix or on Uber, the next time they log into their banking app, without even realising it, that barrier has been raised, that challenge to really live up to that expectation of what's possible in the mobile space has been shifted. And make no mistake, we are operating in a rapidly growing competitive environment. Challenger banks, fintechs, new entrants, all looking to capitalise on this market. And those organisations share some really interesting characteristics. They're wholly digital. They leverage cloud-based solutions. They move at pace. They've got a strong reputation for innovation, and they are early adopters of leading-edge technologies. And most importantly, I think, they are obsessed with developing a great customer experience. So what are we going to do about it? Well, does anybody remember when banking looked like this? No? Some of you, maybe? So this is actually a photograph from one of our London branches in 1973. And believe it or not, I take inspiration from this. Because there are many things that I think we want to wind the clock back. And that doesn't mean that I want to go back to the 1970s, because as great as ABBA were, I think we've moved on from that. But I think we can take inspiration and we can recognise there was some really high value that you saw in banking, high street banking in the 1970s, that maybe we've lost sight of a bit, and it's time to regain some of those things. Personal relationships, great advice that was really focused on a deep and real understanding of customer need. When you went into your branch, your bank manager knew who you were, they knew things about you. Potentially they'd looked after your parents and your grandparents. If you ran a small business, they knew your business, they'd helped you with your mortgage. You would get really good, meaningful, personalised advice. We have somewhere in the region, with Barclays Card, of 30 million customers in the UK. We have about 12 to 18 million digitally active customers, depending on how you manage that. There's somewhere in the region of sort of 30 million logins a week on the online and mobile banking capability. There's a huge opportunity there to build relationships with customers. But as you just heard from Alibaba, it's about offering more and building an environment in which customers do more than just, in our case, check their balance or quickly make a payment. So how do we build on that? Well, I believe we need to build a really thorough understanding of our customers, to have the right conversation at the right moment in time about the right services. Banks have always had substantial amounts of data, but we've never really capitalized on those, and it's challenging to turn data into meaningful insight. Larry Page of Google once said that the perfect search engine would understand exactly what you mean and give back exactly what you need. And that was the power behind Google's early success, and you can sort of paraphrase that for banking. The perfect bank would understand exactly what you need and give you back exactly what you want. So it's not enough for us to be present in digital channels. We need to see digitalization as an opportunity to deepen our relationship with customers, to have a more meaningful conversation, and build a banking experience that's smarter, more efficient, and actually delivers a better service for the end user. So, how do we turn those 30 million plus logons a week into something more efficient? Well, I think it comes back to how we develop and build our digital products in the first instance. This is a real board from my office, by the way. Everybody says that the customer is at the heart of what they do. I'd like to say that actually data is at the heart of what my team do. And we really start with an understanding of complex needs. We build customer models. We look at big data and macro trends. We use quantitative and qualitative analysis and build a very multidimensional data set to track all sorts of things, both pre and post-launch. We do all sorts of test and learn, things like A/B testing, multivariant testing, continual learning within the product lifecycle. We've got ClickFox, Adobe Analytics, Glassbox, user replay, eyeball tracking, all that cool stuff. But actually, the thing that we do that works best for us is bringing customers into the office, sitting them down in groups and talking to them about their needs and about how they use their banking. And we do that every single week. We have labs dedicated for that purpose, sitting right by where my team sit in our head office. And that is one of the most useful and immediate ways of testing ideas and products. We can get a response from them on the spot. We build up boards with them, post-it notes, working out journeys, understanding what they'd want to do. And then we can start to build it, iteratively test it back with the same customer groups, and really move forward at pace. So an example of that
and actually really talking about, I think, something to the heart of what we're going to talk about today, which is mobile, was something my team delivered last year. Business instant lending on mobile. Now, Barclays is pretty good at being innovative, but business banking, not really the part of the organisation that always moves at speed. And we've got 1.2 million SME customers in the business bank, and my business banking colleague said, yeah, we know they like online. We can see that they're using the online capability. But business banking customers, they're not like personal customers. I used to do the personal banking side. They don't want to do mobile banking. Business banking customers, they like to sit at their desks and take their time about things. They want to read it on a big screen. They're never going to be interested in mobile lending. That's just not right for that market. And we launched online lending for business banking in 2014 and had a pretty good turnover ever since. About 10% share of total lending for business banking came from online. And at the end of last year, my team finally won an ongoing conversation in which we said we would like to try and launch mobile lending for business bank customers. In the end, the business said, look, fine, go for it. We just don't believe there's going to be any market. And we launched business lending in November last year. Now, it's only for a subset of our customer base, but rather than the previous situation where customers would look online, they could read about lending opportunities, then they would have to pick up the phone, make an appointment. Generally, there's a 2-week delay for an appointment, go into their local branch, have a conversation with their branch manager, and then they'd get a phone call 48 hours later to tell them whether or not they'd been approved. And oddly enough, our NPS score for approved lending, so this is after success, was pretty low. And we're not even going to touch on the NPS score where it wasn't approved. And we just thought we can do better than that. So this is a subset of customers. These are customers where we run about 18 data points through our analysis engine and say, we are pretty certain that they are going to be successful in a loan application because we've got the right level of data history, we can understand their structure, we know enough about their business. And for those customers, and it's a fairly chunky subset of the 1.2 million, we can serve up a banner. And the banner on that first screen pretty much says, did you know a loan could be available? Would you be interested? And the customer clicks yes. Now, there are 6 screens from clicking yes to your loan has been approved, and that's all done. And 2 of those screens are you really sure you want a loan? Because we don't want to lend money if someone doesn't need it. That wouldn't be the right thing to do. So we check and we double check. So 2 of those 6 screens are you really certain? One of them is, can you just confirm your email address? Because we're going to send you a PDF with all the terms and conditions. So you've got a hard copy, as well as the one that goes to your own cloud file in the account. And 3 screens, basically, to process a £25,000 loan. And that loan generally appears in the account between instantly and 4 hours later. Unsurprisingly, that now has the highest NPS score of pretty much all our business banking digital products. And it has convinced our business banking colleagues that customers do want to bank in a mobile environment, not least because in the first week that we launched it, it delivered 200% of any previous week's digital lending. And we're now about 5 months on, and this is delivering 40% share of voice for business lending, which is a phenomenal success story. So having proved to the business and to ourselves that customers do actually want to use their mobile channel, well, what else are we doing about it, and how are we going to build from there? Well, we built something called Smart Business, and this is going live pretty much now. This is currently, actually, that's a picture of the online version, and that's really about recognizing, again, customer need. So something customers were telling us is they want to integrate into their accounting tools, they want to integrate into Xero, Sage, and other third parties. So we've built effectively a business app capability with open APIs into a number of third-party vendors with whom we're integrating their services. So that means, as a business customer, you can log in and you can see everything you need to see about your business on one screen. That dashboard gives you a combined view of pending payments, transactions, outstanding invoices, your cash flow for the month, and then building on that, we have done, rather like Alibaba did with Alimama, we're now starting to build on that amazing layer of data that we hold about our customers. because, again, business banking, many of our customers take payment acceptance solution through Barclays Card, as well as actually having Barclays Card and accounts with us. So the depth of knowledge that we have and the depth of insight that we can share with them, back to them, about their business is substantial. And we're starting to pull that together, and we've launched a smart business insights capability where we can tell you about your business, and we can also tell you about businesses in your area or businesses like you. Now, that might mean that the next time a small business wants to expand, take out a new premises, we can have a really meaningful conversation with them in the digital environment that says, businesses like you, actually, there's 6 of them on the high street where you're looking at that, but 2 miles away, you've got a really good opportunity there because there isn't anybody who does that. A real life example, we had a customer who sells motorcycles in Bristol. And he was pretty convinced that his target demographic was the 50-plus male, possibly slightly midlife crisis-y, into Harley-Davidsons. That was kind of where he was at. And so his motorbike shop was really about showcasing the Harley-Davidsons for that demographic. And we spent some time with him, and we used these tools. So we didn't do it manually. We very much used the data analytics tools. And what we discovered was that actually he makes his money from the millennials buying mopeds to get to and from work. This is true. He had no idea. And so on the back of that, he's completely changed his business model. He's restructured his store. It looks completely different, and turnover is up. So it's a really good example of how we can help our customers by using their data and playing it back to them to enable them to get more out of what they do with us. So we've taken that, and we're moving forward. Now, I said earlier that characteristics of successful innovative companies is that they're brave and they try to fail fast sometimes as well. I would also say that they launch early and they use customer data to iterate and to optimize what they're doing. Now, traditionally, that has been anathema to banks, where everything is predicated on, robust 3 to 5 years banking cycles and business cases, and everything has to be perfect before we launch. Does that sound familiar to anyone else here? It's quite hard sometimes to move fast in an environment where 18 months is seen as speedy. And we've been trying to break that down, and one way in which we've done that is by introducing Launchpad. We are, I think, the first, possibly the only bank in the UK, to have effectively a real live test environment for customers. So Launchpad is basically our beta app, and we've got 100,000 customers, real-time, live customers, using it as their mobile banking application, but they know it's a beta app. And we have 10,000 business banking customers on there as well. And it gives us this sort of safe place in which to launch propositions, iterate, fail fast, and understand customer behaviors before we put them out onto our big, meaty Barclays banking app. So I talked about cash flow, and actually one of the things we've noticed is that something like 80% of small businesses fail in the first 2 years. And they tend to fail not because they don't have a successful business model, but because they have cash flow problems. And these are small businesses that aren't big enough to use accountancy packages and probably don't need something even like a Xero. But they do need to manage their cash flow. They do need to issue invoices, and they do need to receive payments. And what we've been building on Launchpad is a small business version of an integrated invoicing and cash flow management capability within the business banking app. So as a small business, you log in, you see your balance on screen 1, and it will tell you how many invoices you've got outstanding, or whether you've got some cash flow issues pending. So we can look forward to the end of the month and say, you're actually going to have a shortfall, you might need to do something about it. Now, this is back to being smart, this is back to customer need. And at that point in time, we can also talk to customers about lending, about loans. And do they need a short-term overdraft? And how can we help them manage their cash and their business better towards success? So within this, it sort of prompts you, do you need to issue an invoice? It takes you through to a screen, and that screen, you type up your invoice, you complete the invoice, you hit send, and the invoice is sent. It's not a Barclays invoice, it's customer X's invoice. It's sent automatically from within their inbox to the customer, and the customer receives a PDF invoice telling them how much they owe to the business. You can do that on the spot. So if you're a small local business and you need to issue quick, fast invoices, window cleaning, dry cleaning, all those sorts of things, you can do it on the spot. And the thing we're now working on is integrating payment solutions into the PDF invoice. So when the customer receives that email and opens up that PDF, there'll be a click to pay button immediately within that. And that means our customer can see transactions outstanding, balance, payments, and their full end-to-end cash flow, along with prompts that warn them when they've got problems coming up ahead. Now, as we start to tie that back into our smart business dashboard, the insights, you start to get something that really becomes really meaningful for our customers. So, I talked about the pace of change accelerating. It's definitely getting faster. And I kind of believe it's kind of fairly pointless embarking on digital transformation or developing a great digital experience unless it's underpinned by a profound understanding of your customers and their needs. Many organizations are great at gathering data, but very few excel at translating that into meaningful insight or understanding meaningful information about their customer behavior. I think to meet this challenge, you need an internal culture of innovation, a desire to continuously improve and not settle for good enough, to be obsessed with the detail, enthusiastic about the opportunity, and passionate about customer experience. Thank you.